He nodded. "That paper I noticed on the seat beside you," he said. "Was that the Daily Telegraph?" "It was," I said. "It is." "Would you be a horse player?" "I've been known to take a chance," I said. He nodded. "How much of that $6.95 do you get to keep?" 51%, I said. "That's $3.54, he said, faster than I'd have been able to. "All right, I like you. I like the way you talk. You gave me a pleasant ride in, so here's your tip. You put that $3.54 on purple pecunia, it will bring you back a minimum of $81.42. I guess I looked blank. I didn't say anything. "Don't thank me," he said modestly, smiled and nodded, and turned away. The doorman picked up the luggage. "I wasn't going to," I said, but I don't think he heard me. It happens every once in a while. You get beaten out of a tip for one reason or another, and my philosophy is you have to be philosophical about it. It also happens every once in a while you get a really big tipper, so it all evens out. So I just shrugged and got back into the cab in the warm and went looking for a really big tipper. This was at about 9 in the morning. Around 11:30, I went over to my usual diner on 11th Avenue and had a coffee and a Danish, even though I'm supposed to be on a diet. Sitting in a cab all the time, there's a tendency to spread a little, so every once in a while I try to take off a few pounds. But after a while, you begin to get hungry. You don't want to take the time for a whole meal, so you stop for a quick coffee and a Danish. It's only natural. Anyway, I brought the paper in with me and looked it over, and my eye got caught by this horse, Purple Pecunia, the one I got stiff-tipped on. I thought he'd said petunia, like the flower, but it was pecunia, which was peculiar. He was running down in Florida, and judging from past performance, he'd be lucky to finish the race the same day he started. Some hot tip. But then I got to thinking about it, and I remembered how the guy had been friendly all the way into town, how he obviously had money, and how fast he'd been at figuring my 51% of the meter, and I wondered if maybe I should listen to him after all. I remembered the numbers. 354 was my percent, and 81.42 was what he'd said I would make if I bet that amount. At least 81.42. I did some long division on the margin of the Telegraph, and it came out at exactly 22-1, to the penny. A man who can do numbers that fast in his head, I told myself, has got to know what he's talking about. Besides, he was obviously not hurting for money, and further besides, what was the point in giving me a bum steer? If there's one thing a horse player or any other kind of player learns early in his career, it is this. Play your hunches. Get a hunch, bet a bunch. That's what the poker players say. And all of a sudden, I had a hunch. I had a hunch that fare of mine, who had just come up on a plane from someplace warm, let's not forget that, knew what he was talking about, and Purple Pecunia was going to romp home a winner, and some few people on the inside were going to walk away 22 times richer than they started, a minimum of 22 times. And I could use the money. There's a couple of regular poker games I'm in, and for about 5 weeks I'd been running a string of bad cards to make you sit down and cry. The only thing to do with a run like that is wait it out, and I know it. But in the meantime, I was spreading a lot of paper around. There were half a dozen guys with my marker in their pockets now, and one of them for $75, and frankly, I was beginning to get worried. If the cards didn't turn soon, I didn't know what I was going to do. So if I was going to put some money on this Purple Pecunia, and the tip should turn out to be good, it would be a real lifesaver and no fooling. The only question was, how much did I want to risk? Just in case. It seemed to me I should leave that up to Tommy. Tommy McKay, my book. I was going to have to do it on credit anyway, so I might just as well go as steep as he'd let me. I finished the coffee in Danish, paid my check, and went to one of the phone booths in the back. Tommy works out of his apartment, so I called there and got his wife. "Hi, Mrs. McKay," I said. "Is Tommy there? This is Chet." "Who?" "Chet. Chet Conway?" "Oh, Chester. Just a minute." "Chet," I said. I hate to be called Chester. She'd already put the phone down. I waited, thinking things over, having